What's up, everybody? Your boy Pat back again with another edition of Second Take, where I talk tech and I speak sports. Today's topic of the day is politics. Why? Because it's the topic that's on my mind today. So I want to get into something real quick, but I'm going to share this so everybody can see me, hopefully. I'm going to send this out real quick. Just give me a moment. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to make sure that I preface this by saying I understand that our voting process is done by the Electoral College, and I will also say that I've been an opponent of the Electoral College for quite some time, and probably every 4 years I come on here and I do this. Now this is the first time I'm doing it on Facebook, but I've done it in person. I've done it on my YouTube. I've done it on phone, text message people before. So now I'm doing it on Facebook Live. This is the best way to do it. I'm probably going to do it on Instagram. This is on my YouTube, actually streaming on YouTube, going through Facebook Live. So I hope people can see me, but I will share this content. So I was not aware that there was a thing called the National Popular Vote, I guess, bill or addendum or whatever. But I came across Colorado. They had Proposition 113 on their ballot this year, and it basically states that they wanted to join the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, whatever that means. But apparently, all it is it's a collection of states who, instead of saying, hey, the Republican or Democrat won our state and they're going to get our electoral college votes, we're going to actually give our electoral college votes to whoever wins the popular vote. So in Colorado's instance, they right now are 89% reporting on this bill, and 52.2% of the people are saying yes to this. So they would like to join. And I just want to make a quick reference that, so in order for this, I guess, bill to be enacted through Congress, what really has to happen is the assemblance of all the states who want to join this, their collective electoral college vote has to match up to 270. So as of July of 2020, this bill has been enacted into law in 17 jurisdictions or states in this instance. And I'm reading, so I apologize for keep glancing down, but 9 of them have been passed. 16 jurisdictions, and out of those 16 states that have passed this, they have 196 collective electoral college votes. So if Colorado does in fact pass this year, you're going to add their 9 to the 196, and it's going to be 205. So when we get another 65 electoral college votes, meaning states that collectively have that many, so it could be any combination of states, but we'll be able to enact this. So right now, when I look through this really quickly, it looks like there are a lot of Democratic states in this, not many Republican states. So, I mean, personally, if you're a Republican, why would you, right? You never win the popular vote. So why would it wouldn't benefit you, right? But let's be real, people. If you and I were being elected to president of our high school team, and you had 47 votes and I had 6, and they said, hey, well, the electoral college wants to, let Patrick be the president of the class because that's what they feel. When you feel a little like kind of confused and just like, screaming out, hey, that's unfair. I know I would. And I'm sure you should start thinking that same way, because if you listen to my last video, I talked about, depending on where you live is how heavy or how much weight your vote carries in America. No one's vote carries 1-to-1. It just doesn't carry like that, because of the fact that we have states that we know are always going to be Republican. We have states that we know are always going to be Democrat. So essentially, if I lived in New York again, at one point I did, but basically showing up to polls really, if I wanted to, I could vote. If I didn't, it really didn't matter because the Democrats were going to win anyway. So my point is, now that I live in Florida, it's a totally different position I'm in because I'm in a swing state and I feel like my vote matters more. So when I talk about the weight of a vote, all I'm really saying is that you have to understand that depending on where you live is how much impact you can have in the election when you talk about just one vote, because your one vote really can't change New York. It can't. It just can't. They're always going to vote Democratic. California's another one. They're always going to vote Democratic. So when you start to look at that, you start to realize that, and I pointed this out in my last video, that there's about, I'd call 13 states that are swing states. People will argue that number, but there are quite a few states that are swing states. And we're seeing it play out in this election right now with a lot of states where it's just too close to call. So their votes really matter. And the way I'll put it is, my Florida vote, I voted for Biden. It essentially is getting thrown out. Why? Because Democrats didn't win this state. So my vote carries no weight, zero weight at all, zero weight. So when you talk about Biden leading the popular vote by 3.5 million votes, yeah, my vote counts there because I voted for Biden. But because Florida, went Republican, my vote doesn't matter. It doesn't get tallied up. And how do I know this? Because we don't elect based on popular vote. We elect based on electoral college. So essentially 5.2 million people in Florida who voted other than Democrat, whether it was, other than Republican, whether it was Democrat or independent or whatever, Green Party, whatever the other parties are, write-ins, it doesn't matter. So as of July 20, like I was saying, 16 jurisdictions or states in this matter have passed this into law, including small states. So Delaware, Hawaii, Rhode Island, Vermont, medium-sized states. You have Connecticut, you have Colorado. Well, Colorado's coming. You have Maryland, you have New Jersey, you have New Mexico, Oregon, Washington State, then big states, California, Illinois, New York. So when you start to, and Washington, D.C. has passed it too. But when you start to look at these states that have passed it, these are mostly Democratic states. So I feel like unless we get some of the swing states or some of the, barely Republican states, i.e. Florida with 29 electoral votes, a Texas with a 35, I believe, electoral votes. But we're going to need some big chunks of states to help us out here because all of these smaller states are going to take a lot longer to get to the 270. But I believe after this year, we'll be at 205 electoral college votes that want to be a part of this bill, which is the National Popular Vote Bill. And I believe we will be on our way to finally being able to have at least a conversation, because I know it's not going to be as easy as stroke of a pen and it's written into law. That's not how we ever do things here in America. But at least in this situation, we can have a conversation about potentially having a winner of an election, in this case, the president, being picked based on the popular vote, which would mean you and I, both of our votes would be equal. It doesn't matter if I'm like right now, for instance, in California, there's like 3.5 million people that have voted Republican. All your votes are getting thrown out. The 7.9 that have voted Democrat, they outweigh you. So they get all 55 electoral college votes from California. But if those 3.5 million people lived in somewhere else, say New York State, those 3.5 million votes would easily tack on to the Republican vote and make that a Republican state. But they don't live in New York. They live in California. So their vote kind of gets thrown away to the side. So right now, the National Popular Vote Bill has been passed in a total of 41 state legislative chambers in 24 states, they're calling it. It has also passed at least one legislative chamber in 9 states possessing 88 electoral college vote, and has been unanimously approved at the committee level in 2 states possessing 27 more electoral college votes. That's Georgia and Missouri. So the National Popular Vote Bill has been introduced in various years in all 50 states. And I want to kind of get into some of the states because it's really weird, because it's like it's gray. It's not like, yeah, we're a part of it, or yeah, we're not a part of it, or we're doing it. It's in law. It's not in law. It's really weird. So I'm going to go over some of the states really quick. So Arkansas passed this bill in 2007 and then in 2009. So why'd you have to pass a bill twice? Is it into law based on this? No, but you've passed it twice. So really, just really gray areas in a lot of this stuff. Arizona passed it in the House only in 2016. California enacted into law. Colorado enacted into law, but subject to statewide vote in 2020, which I already alluded to. So really weird. Connecticut enacted into law. DC into law. Delaware into law. Georgia unanimously approved by the House Committee in 2016, but I guess not in law yet. Hawaii in law. Illinois in law. Massachusetts in law. Maryland in law. Maine passed in 08 and 19. I don't understand. Weird. Michigan passed in the House in 08. Minnesota passed in the House in 19. Missouri and unanimously approved by the House Committee in 2016. You have North Carolina passed in the Senate in 2007. Jersey and New Mexico, both in law. New York in law. Oregon in law. Rhode Island in law. Virginia passed in the House in February of 2020, so this year. And then Vermont and Washington passed into law. So overall, I think it's a good thing. I didn't know about this before. I finally found something on it, I guess because I finally saw it in an election that I was following, really. But it looks like at the end of this year, we're going to have 205 electoral college votes from the states that are participating, whether it's in law, not in law. That number will vary from 16 to 24 states. You pick which one you want to believe. But my ultimate point is we only 65 electoral college votes away. And potentially in my lifetime, I will see a presidency in the United States of America get determined by popular vote, which is how it should be and how it should have been done always. Just my thoughts. Your boy, Pat. Peace. Catch you in the next one.